everyone, Chris here, and welcome to my channel, and welcome to this week's reading vlog. So it is the 14th, and I have a lot of reading I need to do this week. I've actually already started some. Last night I read Delilah Green Doesn't Care. I started this at around 1-ish in the morning and ended up not going to bed until I finished it. That should tell you something about my enjoyment of this, because I probably wouldn't be doing that for a book I didn't enjoy, at least in some form or fashion. But seeing as I'm reading this for the Get a Clue readathon, you'll have to watch my vlog for that to find out my thoughts, but I wanted to let you know I read it. My plan for today is to work on Midnight at the Electric, which is my next book for the Get a Clue readathon, because this is the book for room 5, and that's our most recent room, and if I can finish this, I will be caught up for the first time during the readathon, which would be really exciting. My other goals for this week is to finish The Heroes, as I'm on page 138, and I would like to read it in a rather timely fashion so I don't forget anything, because it can be really hard to keep everything straight when you're reading a adult fantasy, so I'd rather not put it down for like a week and then come back to it. And then my other goal for this week, I think, is going to be to read my Historathon 4.0 TBR. So I have Crow Mary, which is back here. This is the group read. I have Beneath the Scarlet Sky, which is based on a true story. The Night Diary, I'm reading for 3-word title, and then I'm reading the latest Lady Hardcastle book by a favorite author. So I have quite the stack of historical fiction. They're all very, very different, so I'm hoping that that could be a fun way to kind of get through my historical fiction books. Also, I will mention about this one that it has 3 timelines: Kansas in 2065, Oklahoma in 1934, and England in 1919. So this also would count as historical fiction, so I thought it would be kind of fun to do that this week. And then if I have time, I was thinking of trying Send For Me, because this is a historical fiction as well. And it moves between Germany on the eve of World War II and present-day Wisconsin. So I thought it could be fun to try to squeeze this one in, as it is another historical fiction, and kind of have a historical fiction reading week in honor of Historathon 4.0. But that's all going to depend on how much reading time I get and whether another prompt drops, and how these books may or may not fit into the prompts for the Get a Clue readathon. Right now, though, my plan, I think, is to go nap. Like I said, I was up till ridiculous o'clock in the morning reading this, and I have not had enough sleep. So I think I'm going to curl up with this in an audiobook, and then when I get tired, I think I'm going to take a nap, because I'm very, very tired. We also have a point last night where I went out to get a drink, and there was a dead mouse on the kitchen table, which was fun. And then when I got up today, I was informed that there was another one behind my dad's recliner. So cats 2, mice 0. It's going to be interesting to see how many of the little buggers they nab. I wish they'd just stay outside. But, you know, circle of life. If they're going to come in here, I'd rather have the cats take care of them than have them overrun our house or have to deal with them ourselves. So we'll see how the cats do. But yeah, that's my plan. I'm going to do a little bit of reading and then nap, and we'll see how this week goes. Just shy of 2 in the morning on Saturday, and it was really time for me to check in. This is going to be a rather brief update, because I haven't read much, but I've also read a lot. And to explain that, I've mentioned I'm doing a separate vlog for the Get a Clue readathon, and I believe it was Tuesday and Wednesday? No, Wednesday and Thursday. We had a 48-hour chaos round, and that meant that Rooms were suspended, prompts were suspended. We just had to read as many books as we could. And since that was part of the Get a Clue readathon, I'm going to talk about the books that I read during that chaos round in my Get a Clue vlog. However, I am going to run you through what I read, so you know what I read in case you aren't watching that vlog and don't care to watch it. You'll at least know what I read when you watch this one. So first up, I'm going to mention that I read Midnight at the Electric. I was reading this for room 5. So I managed to squeeze this one in and finish it just before midnight, before chaos started. Then, really quick, I read Cat and Gamer Volume 1. The Wizards of Once, Knock 3 Times. One Piece, Volume 3. The Night Diary, which was my Historathon pick for 3 words in the title, which I was reading for, I believe, Amanda's prompt. And I did say I was going to focus on Historathon. A Fire at the Exhibition, which is the latest book in the Lady Hardcastle mystery series, which I was reading for Read a Historical Fiction by an author you love, which I believe was Lindsay's prompt. Apartment 1986, which was a fall cover. And Send For Me, which I was reading for Friend Pick for Phase 10 Chooses My TBR. I think some of these other ones were on my Phase 10 TBR too. Like, I think Knock 3 Times was. Maybe The Night Diary? I don't know. I had a few of these on my Phase 10 TBR. And I know a few of them were also on my Phase Out TBR. So I made quite a decent bit of progress since I last checked in with you, because I read... Hang on, let's get these all in order here. This stack plus the Lady Hardcastle novel for my Chaos round in the Get a Clue mystery, and then I had finished book 5, well, room 5. Then prompt 6 dropped, and for that I'm picking up my Very Good, Very Bad Dog, Chicken Soup for the Soul, and I am currently on page 62. So that will also be in that vlog. So the only books I can talk to you about are, first, Crow Mary. This is the group book for Historathon 4.0, and we're following Crow Mary, who marries Abe Farwell, a white fur trader, in 1872. And in the spring of 1873, I've got 2 of them, because you can't see, they're, this one wants to be in my lap, and this one just wants to be on camera. This is going to be fun. So, in 1873, they end up seeing the Cypress Hills Massacre, in which 40 innocent Nakota are killed by a drunken gang. So, I am currently on page 152. Oh, are you looking for the food? It's over here. I'm currently on page 152, and we have fighting. Nuggy does not like the other cats. And Cielo can be a bit possessive. Okay, so I am on page 152, and I am quite enjoying this book. I find Crow Mary to be quite the interesting character. I've enjoyed kind of seeing her journey and seeing how she's going to end up in the spot where she can see this massacre. I've never heard anything about the massacre, so I'm quite interested to get to that point and hear more about it. Crow Mary is a real person. This is approved by her descendants, so it should be a pretty accurate historical fiction because it has the family's stamp of approval. So I'm quite enjoying this, and it was not on my radar at all, so I'm actually really glad I ended up picking it up, because honestly, after, you know, the 2 manga and then the fantasy and a couple of historical fictions, a contemporary, this is a completely different kind of historical fiction to the other historical fictions I read, and it was just a nice palate cleanser. And I also like that I didn't have to feel like I needed to be reading it every second of every day and come back here before she swats you in the head. She don't want to play with you. So I'm quite enjoying that one. The other book I have picked up is The Heroes. I don't know why I thought this was a good idea to start right before the Chaos Round, but then again, I didn't know the Chaos Round was coming. So I'm on page 138. This is a standalone in the First Law series, and I'm enjoying being in this world. I don't know when I started this, whether I started this before the end of the last vlog, or whether I started this since the beginning of this vlog, but I figured I'd let you know. I'm on page 138. I have not picked it up since the Chaos Round started because, well, I was focused on those books and then the room dropped, so I'm enjoying that, and it's going to be about 3 heroes and 1 battle, and I'm assuming it's going to be a very bloody book because they're at war. So that is my update. I can tell you vlog 110 and vlog 111 are uploaded, and I just want to make this known. They're both around 42 minutes. Vlog 110 took 4 days to upload. 4 days. Vlog 111 uploaded while vlog 110 was uploading and took half an hour. I am so annoyed. So I wasn't bothered editing because I don't have enough room on my phone to store these videos in their edited form, because I don't take them off my phone until I post them, and I can't post them because they didn't want to upload. So hopefully I can work on some editing this weekend and get closer to being caught up. That is the plan. We'll see how that goes. But it also depends on whether YouTube is going to upload my videos, because that's kind of an important part as well. But that's my update. I've read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books since I last spoke with you, and I'm partway through 3 others. So I'm having a good reading week. We'll see how the rest of the week goes, and I will check back in with you later to give you an update. So, fun fact, it is 1:35 a.m. on the 23rd. And I was supposed to wrap this vlog up ending at midnight between the 20th and the 21st. I may have forgot to check in. I was legit sitting here earlier today, and by today I mean Wednesday, thinking, it feels like it's been ages since I've checked in for my vlog. But I knew it couldn't have been because I just started a new vlog. And then it dawned on me that it felt like it was ages because I never checked in. So this is a 9-day vlog? Oops. I just got so busy with getting vlogs set up and reading and trying to figure out prompts and working on next month's TBR and all of that I just completely spaced on the fact that I needed to film my final clip and kick off the next vlog. So this is going to be 9 days. There's no way for me to parse what I had read Monday and what I then read between Tuesday and Wednesday. So hopefully that's okay with you all. I'm going to start by mentioning that I DNF'd my very good, very bad dog. So I was reading this for one of the room prompts for the Get a Clue readathon, and normally I would be talking about those books there, and I will mention this there as well, but I wanted to tell you all that I had DNF'd it and switched my book out, because I'm going to mention the other book, and I kind of have to explain. But the reason I DNF'd this is, one, some of the stories were cute, but a lot of them were really boring or seemed really far-fetched. But the one that made me upset is that we were following this girl who really struggled with germs. Like, she said she wouldn't play with her brother because he was quote-unquote dirty. And when they got a dog, she really struggled with the idea of the dog giving her kisses. But taught the dog not to kiss her, so I figured, no problem, this is a cute story. Then she mentions that they go to her aunt's house for Thanksgiving. The dog plays with her cousins, and she gets jealous because the dog doesn't act like that with her. So she decides to train the dog to play with her. And my first thought was, well, if the only thing you did was teach it not to give you kisses, why is this dog acting like she's scared of you? Because she literally said, I realized she had been scared of me. I'm like, well, how did you train this dog to not give you kisses if it's terrified of you? And then she said that she stopped thinking of Teeny as a bacteria machine, and it led to her obsession with cleanliness disappearing. And this girl has, like, major OCD. Like, her friends weren't allowed in her room. She constantly wanted people to use hand sanitizer. She didn't want people reading her books because she didn't want crumbs in her books. Like I said, she thought her brother was dirty. And then she says this: I hadn't realized how mean and rude I must have been to my mom, dad, and brother. I felt so guilty. What kind of daughter was I? How could a big sister be so mean? What kind of friend wouldn't let her friends into her room? What did my parents think of me? And adds that she trained them to realize that she was no longer a germaphobe like she did with the dog. And she said, my mother no longer commented on my quote-unquote mental illness. And it said she overcame her obsession and learned how to reach out to everyone who matters in her life. And this really bothered me because it just made it sound like her being mentally ill was something bad. Like she had done something wrong. Like she was defective or something. And as somebody who really struggles with the idea of dirt and cleanliness, I was massively offended by that. I can tell you right now that I struggle with the perceived notion that something is dirty. It's just how my brain works. And I know that some of it is due to past trauma, which I'm not going to get into. And some of it is due to the fact that because of COVID, my OCD really went into overtime. I am the type of person that gets in the car, could drive all around the block. Like we back out of my driveway, leave my house, drive around the block, pull back into my driveway. And I would have to wash my hands at least twice and take all of my clothes off and get into fresh clothes because my clothes are now dirty because they've left my house. I understand that that's not normal. And I use that term loosely because I don't like using the term normal because really what is normal? But I know that like that is taking it to an extreme in a way that is not healthy. And I'm trying to work on it, but it's so hard given society and the fact that like COVID isn't just going to disappear. And I don't quite know how to deal with that because I tend to use a lot of logic to calm my anxiety down. And unfortunately, the logic isn't there. They don't have the answers yet as to why one person can have asymptomatic COVID and another person dies. They can't answer why some people get long COVID and some people don't. It hasn't even been long enough for them to really understand the long-term effect of having any sort of COVID and what ups your risk factors. And for me, I need the answers to those before I can accurately assess the risk that I'm taking. So it makes it very, very hard for me. And it is just compounded an issue I'd had with germs prior to COVID. So reading something like that, especially where it made it sound like this child was blaming herself for something she couldn't control in a way that it made it feel like her family was blaming her, it just rubbed me the wrong way and completely turned me off to this book. And maybe the rest of the stories are absolutely brilliant, but at that point, I no longer wanted to read this book because I was just done. I can handle boring. I can handle amusing. I can even handle sad, because there was one that mentioned the Rainbow Bridge, and given the state of things with my pets lately, that was not something I necessarily wanted to be reading. But I can't handle somebody acting like it's a mental illness and I was rude because I was mentally ill and whatever else she said in here. Because the other issue I would take is that I could understand if she thought that when she was a kid, but as far as I know, like, she had to be over the age of 18 to send this entry in. So, like, if she's like an adult, I'm sad for her that she's never had somebody tell her that, like, you know, that wasn't your fault, right? So, yeah, this was a big fail, and I DNF'd it, and then I moved on. And the book I moved on to was 6 Sweets Under, and this is a cozy mystery, and I was able to swap that in for my Get a Clue prompt. So, if you want to know my thoughts on that, you'll have to watch my Get a Clue vlog, because I will talk about it there. Another book I read for the Get a Clue readathon is A Broken Spine. So again, if you would like to know my thoughts on this, which is another cozy mystery, you'll have to check out my vlog for that. But I wanted to note that I did read it. Otherwise, it's going to seem like I haven't really done too awful much. Then I finished Cromary, and I'm giving this 4 stars. I really ended up enjoying this. The ending did not at all go the way I thought it was. It was really surprising, the things that happened to Cromary in her life after the, what was it called? The Cypress Hills Massacre, and how just being there witnessing it and rescuing some women completely changed the trajectory of her life. And like I said, it changed it in ways I hadn't anticipated. So it was quite a fascinating look at this woman's life and how things played out for her. I am so glad that it was the group book, because I had never heard of it before, and it put it on my radar and gave me an extra incentive to read it. So it ended up being a really good choice, and I'm glad that I picked it up. Then another book I can't talk about is the Bellwoods Games. So this is a fall cover, which is why I can't talk about it. You'll need to watch my fall covers vlog for that, but that means I've completed 4 of my fall covers. And this is also the 3rd to last book I need to read for my Phase 10 TBR, so very happy with that. And then the only other update I have, I told you, it seems quite disappointing when you look at how many days I had and how little I've read compared to, like, how much I crammed into the 48 hours of the chaos, is Beneath a Scarlet Sky. I am on page, let's see, this is 305. And this is set in Italy in World War II, and we're following Pino, and he ends up being the driver for Adolf Hitler's left-hand man, and kind of starts spying on him so he can share secrets and help the resistance. This feels like it's going to get in the 3-star range, mainly because of the fact that, well, I'm not disliking it, it's just slow. It is very easy to put down and walk away, but that doesn't mean it's not easy to pick back up and listen to a few chapters. Like, I'm not really feeling like I've completely lost the plot, so it's easy to get back into when I do put it down, so I'm kind of just puttering around and listening to a chapter or 2 here and there when I need some, like, background noise. But it's not making me want to pick it up. Like, I'm going to be able to read tonight, and I can tell you this is not what I'm going to pick up tonight. I don't know exactly what I'm going to pick up, but it's going to be one of the other books on my TBR, because this is not giving me that oomph that I need to actually want to sit down and devour this. So, like I said, I feel like it's going to be a 3-star where it was, like, a good book, but not a new favorite or anything. So that's my week. I made a little bit of progress here and there. It was not the best week. I've done a lot of editing, though, because I can tell you that I believe I mentioned in the previous clip that I had been working to get 110 and 111 up, the vlogs. And today I finished editing vlog 112 and vlog 113, which is my spooky vlog, and my final book support group vlog, which means I only have 2 vlogs left because I have last week's and this week's, I think. Yes. So, then I would be caught up to current. But of course, I will have next week's vlog and the Get a Clue vlog that I need to edit and my fall covers, and like, there's just so much to do. But I'm hoping to be caught up before the end of the year so that I can kind of start January with a clean slate. So we'll see how that goes. So that was my 9 days of reading. It feels very slow given the back half, but that beginning half, man, because of the relay, did I cram in some books. I would also highly suggest you check out my Get a Clue readathon vlog when that comes out, because like I said, I'm mentioning all of these books I've read and my thoughts on those will all be in there. But that being said, it is time to wrap this vlog up and move on to the final week of November. All of my social media is linked in the description below if you'd like to come chat with me. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me feather emojis, since there's a feather on this cover. Like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!